spell. Don't play a hero, you land down in hell. You've got your troubles and I've got mine. Let's work together to make things fine. Got to be sure of all things we do. Preserve our lives, be pure and true. The things we see and feel were meant to be. It's the fulfillment of prophecy. I said the world needs trouble, and living ain't easy. I said the world is trouble. You got to believe it. The world is trouble, and living ain't easy. I said the world is trouble. You got to believe it. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I know right now. Ooh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh wow, wow, yeah. And after all these things shall come to pass, the end shall not be nailed. And after all these things shall come to pass, the end shall not be nailed. There shall be hijacking, kidnapping all over the earth. Ooh yeah. There shall be hijacking, kidnapping all over the earth. Oh yeah. A bombing and wars all over the earth. Super Rasta. Oh,
Ethiopia. You got to love him and you live, but if you hate him, you will die. You got to love the Lord God, Jah Rastafari. King Selassie, Prince of Peace and Light of this world. In value more than all the diamonds and all the pearl. 'Cause him a God and King, 'cause Jah a God and King. Jah Rastafari. 'Cause this ya wanna really high fine style. Then this ya wanna really got to rock you and sing. 'Cause this ya wanna high fine styling. Kings of kings, lords of lords. Conquering the tribe of Judah. I feel majesty, I Selassie. Neguse nega, you better let Jah be praised. Say Lord Jah and live. If you wait till you will surely die. Until you know lie. Said you got to love King Selassie. Cannot be charging over African border. When we are hungry, when we are thirsty, we never stop praising Jah, 'cause Jah will provide. When we are hungry and have no food to eat, when we are thirsty and there's no water to drink, we won't
we there with you. A pain me feel pain. And my mind is everywhere. I just feel pain. Some serious pain in my heart and soul. But nevertheless, I try something, as always. Don't forget, subscribe, share the thing. Education, because the information we're giving, information and education, whether it's good information or bad information. But when I work with the US, listen good and listen carefully. Come again. Come.
There are moments in history when the world holds its breath. And today, Africa stands in one of those moments. The name on everyone's lips, Ibrahim Traoré. But who is he really? A hero? A rebel? A threat? A hope? And why has the world turned its gaze so sharply upon him? Is it because he is young? Because he refuses to bow? Or because he reminds them of something they thought they had long buried? The spirit of a truly free Africa? The story of Ibrahim Traoré is not just the story of a man. It is the story of a people who have decided that enough is enough. But what happens when enough is truly enough? What happens when the chains of centuries begin to snap? It began quietly. A small nation in West Africa, Burkina Faso, scarred by poverty, scarred by terror, scarred by broken promises. A place the world forgot except when it needed gold or soldiers. And yet, from this forgotten place, a storm was born. A captain, a soldier, a son of the soil, rising not from riches, but from dust, speaking not with polished speeches, but with the raw voice of the streets. Ibrahim Traoré. He did not seek permission. He did not beg for approval. He stood, and, in standing, he shook the ground beneath him. In September 2022, the old order fell, and with it, the first whispers of fear began in distant capitals. What does it mean, they wondered, when a man refuses to play by the old rules? What does it mean when he says no to foreign troops? No to foreign companies draining his nation's wealth? No to lectures from men in suits who never cared for the hungry child in a Burkinabe village? Was he foolish? Was he brave? Was he dangerous? Or was he something more? The young captain, now president, spoke words that had not been heard from African leaders in decades. Words that made old empires shift uncomfortably in their chairs. We will not be slaves. We will own what is ours. We will build for our children, not for your banks. And the people listened, because they had heard enough promises. They had seen enough betrayal. Was this man different? Or was it simply that, in a world of whispers, a man who speaks loudly always sounds like a savior? But as Traoré's voice rose, so did the attacks. First came the rumors. Gold was missing, they said. Deals were being made in dark rooms, they warned. Burkina Faso was being sold to enemies, they shouted. And when the United States pointed its finger, the world gasped. An accusation, heavy, damning cold. But where was the proof? Where were the facts? Or was proof even necessary, when the goal was to stain a man's name before his people had the chance to believe too deeply? Africa has seen this dance before. Lumumba, Sankara, Nkrumah, men who dared to dream, cut down before their dreams could bloom. Is history repeating itself? Or is this time different? In the villages of Burkina Faso, the accusations are met with laughter, bitter laughter. They remember the promises of help. They remember the aid that never truly aided. And they ask, when did caring for African gold become a priority for those who once stole it openly? Why now? Why Traoré? Could it be that his real crime is not corruption, but defiance? Could it be that his real mistake was not theft, but independence? Across Africa, voices rise. In Accra, in Bamako, in Lagos, in Dakar, they are asking questions the world does not want to answer. Why must we always ask permission to be free? Why must we always explain our hunger for dignity? Why must we always apologize for wanting what is already ours? In the markets of Ouagadougou, old women selling mangoes debate politics with passion. In dusty classrooms, students discuss alliances and sovereignty instead of just exams. In crowded taxis, drivers argue loudly about destiny and betrayal. Burkina Faso is awake. Africa is awake. But is the world ready for an Africa that no longer begs? Is the world prepared for a continent that remembers its power? Or will they, as always, try to crush the dream before it becomes reality? Ibrahim Traoré walks a dangerous path. He knows the stories of the past. He knows that standing tall in Africa often means dying young. And yet he walks, unbowed, unbroken. He faces the storms not with speeches written by advisors, but with a raw truth drawn from the soil under his feet. He stands not with armies of spin doctors and lobbyists, but with the thin, stubborn hope of a people who have tasted too much sorrow to fear it anymore. But how long can one man stand against the winds of history? How long before the pressure becomes too great? How long before betrayal comes from within, as it so often does? Already, whispers grow louder. Already, hands are moving in the shadows. Offers of wealth, threats of isolation, promises of comfort, if only he bends the knee. Will he? Can he? Or will he be the first to break the cycle? Will he be the one to prove that Africa can stand, not just dream? Time will tell. The battles ahead are not just fought with guns. They are fought with narratives, with words, with headlines. Already, media outlets paint him as unstable, as reckless, as dangerous. Already, reports are written, not in Ouagadougou, but in Washington, Paris, and London. Reports about his supposed failures, his supposed crimes, his supposed destiny. But whose destiny is truly being written here? Traoré's or Africa's? And who holds the pen? The world watches. Africa waits. Burkina Faso dares. And in the quiet between the accusations and the protests, between the threats and the dreams, a simple truth grows. Freedom is not a gift. It is a fight. And Ibrahim Traoré, for now, stands at the front. The question that remains is not about him. It is about us. Will we stand with him? Or will we watch, as yet another chapter of hope is torn from the pages of African history? The clock is ticking. The choice is ours. The time is now, and history once again holds its breath. But can a single man carry the dreams of millions? Can a soldier carry the weight of history on his shoulders without breaking? Ibrahim Traoré is not the first to try. He knows that, and those who came before him, they knew the cost of daring, the cost of believing. How many times has Africa raised a son, only to see him struck down before he could even finish a song? Patrice Lumumba, killed before he could build a Congo free from outside hands. Thomas Sankara, traitorously betrayed by those he trusted most, betrayed not by strangers, but by brothers. Kwame Nkrumah, toppled, isolated, mocked by powers that smiled to his face, but sharpened their knives behind closed doors. And now, Ibrahim Traoré walks the same narrow bridge. Does he not hear the echoes behind him? Does he not feel the ghosts warning him in the winds of Ouagadougou? Or perhaps he does. Perhaps he hears them clearly, and still he walks. But how long before the whispers around him grow into roars? How long before promises of easy riches, silent threats, and whispered betrayals close in around him? Already, the tactics are familiar. First, create doubt. Then, create division. And finally, when he stands most alone, strike. It is an old playbook, but will it work again? Or have the people learned? In the streets of Burkina Faso, in the dusty fields where mothers work under the heavy sun, in the tiny villages where boys herd cattle barefoot, the dream is not of money. It is not of luxury. It is of dignity. A dream that their children's names will not be forgotten, that their land will not be stolen again, that their voice will not be silenced. But how strong is a dream when the world moves to crush it? How deep is hope when bombs fall, when prices rise, when hunger knocks at the door? They say Traoré has allied with the wrong partners. They say he has turned to Russia. They say he has sold his nation's soul. But they do not say why he looked elsewhere. Why did Burkina Faso need to look beyond those who had promised partnership for decades but delivered chains? Why is it betrayal to seek survival? And why must Africans choose between masters rather than build their own houses? In cafes and meeting halls across Africa, questions rise like smoke. If Ibrahim Traoré fails, who will try again? If Ibrahim Traoré falls, who will dare rise? Is it better to die standing or live kneeling? These are not academic questions for Burkinabes. These are questions of bread, of blood, of breath. Already, forces gather at Burkina Faso's borders. Already, economic pressures tighten like nooses. Already, alliances are tested, friendships questioned, loyalties bought and sold. But Traoré does not blink. Not yet. He speaks to his people not with fear, but with fire. We are at war, he says, not just with guns, but with lies. We are at war for our future. And the people listen, because they know wars are not always fought with bombs. Sometimes the most deadly wars are fought with words, with images, with rumors. Today, Ibrahim Traoré fights a battle on two fronts. One with the enemies who threaten his nation with guns, and one with the enemies who threaten his name with whispers. Which battle is more dangerous? Which battle will decide his fate? History teaches that a bullet can kill a man, but a lie can kill a dream. Will Traoré survive both? As night falls over Ouagadougou, the streets quiet. But the questions do not. They linger in the dusty air, in the low hum of conversations in tiny courtyards, in the restless hearts of a people who have tasted hope and now fear its loss. What future awaits Burkina Faso? What price will they pay for daring to hope? And what price is Traoré willing to pay himself? History is not kind to dreamers. It crushes them. It buries them. And then, years later, it builds statues in their honor. Too late to hear their cries. Will Traoré become another statue? Or will he carve a new path while he still breathes? In the corridors of power in Washington, Paris, and London, strategies are drawn. Reports are written. Sanctions are drafted. In the fields of Burkina Faso, seeds are planted. Hopes are watered. Dreams are guarded like precious treasures. Two worlds, two visions, on a collision course. Who will win, and who will pay the price? Across Africa, the young are watching, not with the jaded eyes of the past, but with the burning eyes of a generation that has seen too much, suffered too long, waited too patiently. They are asking, is this the moment? Is this the time when we say no more? Or will we let fear steal yet another future? In the end, Traoré's fate may not be decided by his enemies. It may not even be decided by his friends. It will be decided by the silent majority, by those who choose to stand, or choose to sit, by those who choose to fight, or choose to bow, by those who remember, or those who forget. The stakes have never been higher, and the hour is late. Burkina Faso stands at the edge. Africa stands at the edge. And across the world, the powerful hold their breath, hoping, fearing, calculating. Because they know, if Ibrahim Traoré stands, if Burkina Faso stands, if Africa stands, the world will never be the same again. The drums are beating. The winds are shifting. The earth itself seems to hum with a new energy. A storm is coming, and in the eye of the storm stands a young man in military green, with fire in his eyes and a nation at his back. Ibrahim Traoré. Will history break him? Or will he break history? The answer lies ahead, and the world is watching. But what happens next? What paths lie before Ibrahim Traoré? And before Burkina Faso? Is it already written in the stars? Or can a man still carve a new destiny with bare hands and stubborn will? Some say he will fall, that the pressure is too much, that no man, however brave, can stand against the weight of the old world. Will a bullet find him before his dream takes root? A carefully plotted attack from a face he trusts, a handshake turned dagger? Or will it be slower? Starvation of his people, isolation of his government, the quiet squeezing of foreign banks and corporations tightening the noose, until even the proudest voices fall silent. If that day comes, how will history speak of him? Will they call him reckless? Will they call him naive? Will they call him another tragic African dreamer who dared too much too soon? Or will they call him what many already call him now? A warrior, a martyr, a light in the darkness. And what if he survives? What if the sanctions fail? What if the plots are exposed before they ripen? What if the people refuse to kneel again and again and again? Imagine it. Imagine a Burkina Faso, battered but unbowed, still standing 5 years from now. Imagine gold mines owned by Burkinabes, not by distant companies with foreign flags. Imagine farms feeding Burkinabes first, before anyone else. Imagine schools teaching Burkinabe children that their destiny is not to serve, but to lead. Can the world imagine it? Or is the world too afraid of that image? Because if Burkina Faso succeeds, others will see the path. Mali, Niger, Chad, Guinea, Senegal, the whole Sahel, the whole continent. One spark can light a fire, and fire spread. This is what terrifies the old powers. Not Traoré himself, not even his speeches, but the idea that Africa no longer needs a master, that Africa no longer needs permission to dream and to act. And if that idea takes hold, no army, no sanction, no smear campaign will ever kill it. But standing on the edge of history is dangerous. Does Traoré have enough allies? Can Mali and Niger truly stand with him if the full force of international pressure turns upon them? Or will fear creep in, as it has so many times before? Will promises of investment, promises of safety, promises of comfort tear the fragile bonds apart? History tells us alliances made in struggle are tested hardest not in battle, but in peace. Will Traoré trust the right people? Will he resist the temptation to become the thing he once hated? Power changes men. Victory blinds men. Even the purest dreams can rot when surrounded by gold and applause. Can Traoré stay true to his path when the world tempts him with easy shortcuts? Can he remember the dusty roads, the hungry eyes, the calloused hands that lifted him to power? Or will he forget, as so many before him have forgotten? It is not enough to seize freedom. One must know how to hold it, even when it burns in the hand, even when it costs more than it gives, even when it isolates wounds and scars. Across Burkina Faso, songs are already sung in his name. Poems are written. Stories are told by firelight about the young captain who challenged empires. But what story will they tell in 5 years? In 10? Will they tell of a hero who stood firm, or a leader who lost his way? The future is heavy with questions. Each choice Traoré makes now carries weight beyond his own life. Each alliance, each trade deal, each word spoken in anger or in hope. Everything matters now, and around him, the world sharpens its knives. The West watches. Old colonial powers whisper. Banks tighten their fists. Media campaigns grow in subtlety and ferocity. And somewhere, men in suits plan. They plan how to make Traoré stumble, how to make Burkina Faso collapse, how to make Africa forget once again. But there is another force at work, a force stronger than sanctions, stronger than bullets, stronger than fear, the will of a people who have tasted the idea of freedom. And once tasted, freedom becomes a hunger that nothing else can satisfy. Burkinabes today walk taller. They speak louder. They dare to dream longer, because they see a leader who, whatever his flaws, does not speak like a puppet, who, whatever his risks, does not move like a pawn. They see a man who reflects back to them their own anger, their own pride, their own unstoppable will. But how deep does that will run? Will it survive the hard days ahead, the hunger, the confusion, the endless storms of disinformation? Or will it break under the weight of suffering, as it has broken before? The powerful bet on fatigue. They bet that people will tire, that anger will cool, that dreams will decay into nostalgia. But sometimes the world forgets. Dreams, when watered by sacrifice, do not die. They grow into legends. And legends, once born, never truly die. They live in songs. They live in flags. They live in the clenched fists of children not yet born. Will Ibrahim Traoré become a legend? Or a warning? A chapter of victory? Or another page of tragedy? In the coming months, we will see the battles take new forms. Not just military clashes, but currency wars, information wars, economic sieges, diplomatic betrayals. Will Burkina Faso's neighbors stand with her when the storm grows fiercer? Or will fear make them turn away? Will Africa's rising youth find in Traoré a symbol to rally around? Or a symbol to mourn? There's no easy ending to this story. No clear victory. No certain defeat. Only the road ahead, rough and bloody and uncertain. And as we watch, as the world holds its breath, one truth remains unshakable. Africa is waking up, and the chains, once thought unbreakable, are starting to rust. The future is uncertain, but for the first time in a long time, it is being written by African hands. And no matter what comes next, Ibrahim Traoré's name will not be forgotten, because he dared, and sometimes daring is enough to change the course of history. History is not made in silence. It is not written by those who sit quietly while others speak for them. It is carved by hands that refuse to let go. It is shaped by voices that refuse to be silenced. It is built by hearts that refuse to break, even when the world tries to crush them. And today, in the dusty fields of Burkina Faso, in the crowded streets of Ouagadougou, in the simple homes where hope burns like a small, stubborn flame, history is being made, not by the powerful, not by the rich, but by those who have been told again and again that they are too small to matter. And standing among them, shoulders squared, eyes fierce, voice steady, is Ibrahim Traoré. But he is not just a man anymore. He is a question asked in every hungry village, a question whispered in every betrayed heart, a question shouted in every broken city. Can Africa stand? Can it truly stand? Can it finally claim what was always its own? Or will fear steal that chance once again? The powers of the world do not fear Traoré because of his speeches. They fear him because he is a mirror reflecting back the truth they have tried so long to hide. The truth that Africa does not need saving. It needs freedom. It needs respect. It needs to decide for itself. And that truth, once seen, cannot be unseen. Today, the world watches Burkina Faso with sharpened eyes. Will the people bend? Will they crack under hunger? Will they trade their dreams for survival? Or will they hold the line, scarred, bruised, battered, but still standing? Will the mothers who bury their sons still believe? Will the farmers who lose their crops still believe? Will the students who study by candlelight still believe? And will Ibrahim Traoré himself still believe? When the temptations come, as they surely will. When comfort is offered in exchange for silence. When threats come dressed as gifts. Will he remember why he rose? Will he remember the faces that lifted him? The children who cheered for him? The ancestors who died for him to even stand at all? Or will he fall, not by bullet, but by forgetting? The test is not in battle. The test is in memory. Can a man hold on to the fire that built him? When the world offers a throne built on ashes, the coming days will not be easy. They will be hard, harder than speeches can prepare for, harder than dreams can shield against. But the hardest roads lead to the highest mountains. And at the peak of that mountain, if they reach it, if they endure, if they refuse to bow, there lies a freedom deeper than borders. There lies a pride older than flags. There lies a future not written by others, but written by the hands of those who dared. Burkina Faso stands now at a crossroads, not just for itself, but for Africa, for every poor farmer who was told he would always be poor, for every barefoot child who was told she would never matter, for every dream that was laughed at, for every voice that was silenced. This is not just a story about gold. It is not just a story about power. It is a story about dignity, about memory, about whether a people can reclaim what was taken from them and keep it. The world can accuse. The world can sanction. The world can mock. The world can threaten. But the world cannot kill a dream that has already been born. Ibrahim Traoré may succeed, or he may fall. But the questions he has asked will not disappear. The fires he has lit will not be so easily extinguished. And the voices he has awakened will not forget how it feels to hope, to truly hope. So let the world watch. Let them predict failure. Let them sharpen their knives and polish their chains. Africa is changing. Africa is stirring. Africa is remembering. And no empire, no power, no lie can stop a continent that chooses to rise. The story of Ibrahim Traoré is not yet finished. It is being written right now, in the footsteps of farmers, in the prayers of mothers, in the clenched fists of students, in the beating hearts of millions. And in the end, it will not be written by those who watched. It will be written by those who dared, by those who chose to stand, even when standing meant standing alone, by those who chose to believe, even when believing meant bleeding, by those who chose to hope, even when hope was dangerous. The world holds its breath. Africa holds its future. And a young captain in Burkina Faso, unafraid, unbroken, unbowed, walks forward into the storm. The drums are beating louder now. The ground trembles. The sky darkens. But in the heart of it all, a voice remains steady. The voice of a man. The voice of a people. The voice of a continent that is done kneeling. The time has come. The fight is here. The choice is ours. The future is waiting. And history is watching.
Allah in our religion does not close the door of material things and benefits to people because they don't acknowledge Him. Allah says in our holy book, the doors to those things are open to all. But my special blessing is only for my devotees. So He has a blessing that's better than all that. And you can't get that without being devoted to Him sincerely. It means you can have the material world, whether you respect God or not. You can have much of that. But you will never be really happy. You will never be satisfied. You will never be pleased. If you want to be at peace and satisfied and feel good about yourself, you have to put Allah, you have to put your Creator before the world.
The story of Burkina Faso is not just a tale of a single country, but a profound narrative of resistance, hope, and radical transformation. Nestled in the heart of West Africa, this landlocked nation has long been a symbol of struggle, a place often overlooked, perpetually caught in the crosshairs of external powers and internal conflicts. But in recent years, something extraordinary has begun to unfold. A revolution that challenges decades of colonial legacy and dependency. To understand the significance of Burkina Faso's current transformation, one must first comprehend the depth of its historical challenges. For generations, the country had been trapped in a cycle of economic and political subjugation. Colonial powers had not just occupied the land, but had systematically dismantled traditional structures, leaving behind a framework of dependency that persisted long after independence. The nation's name itself tells a story. Burkina Faso means land of incorruptible people in local languages, a powerful statement of identity that would prove prophetic in the coming years. Yet for decades, this promise of integrity seemed distant, with successive governments more interested in maintaining relationships with former colonial powers than serving their own people. Extremist violence had become a defining challenge. Large swaths of the country's territory were beyond government control, with millions displaced and communities torn apart. The French military presence, ostensibly there to provide security, had become a source of increasing frustration. Instead of bringing peace, foreign troops seemed to perpetuate a cycle of conflict and dependency. Everything changed with the arrival of Captain Ibrahim Traoré. At just 37 years old, he represented a radical departure from previous leadership. Unlike his predecessors who had grown comfortable with foreign patronage, Traoré came from the front lines. He had served in the most dangerous northern regions, witnessing firsthand the systemic failures that had kept his country trapped in a state of perpetual vulnerability. His approach was nothing short of revolutionary. In September 2022, Traoré led a decisive takeover that would reshape the nation's trajectory. By February 2023, he had made his most bold move yet, asking French troops to leave Burkina Faso. This was more than a political gesture. It was a profound declaration of sovereignty that would send shockwaves across the African continent. Removing foreign troops was just the beginning of a comprehensive strategy of economic and military self-sufficiency. The government began developing its first homegrown defense industry, a concept many had considered impossible. Instead of begging for weapons from external powers, Burkina Faso would design and manufacture its own military equipment.
If you can discipline yourself so that you don't allow influences to take you to the things that you know will bring you down, then you'll be successful in life. But if you can't discipline yourself in that way, you are sure to fail. God says of the success and failure, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ تَزَكَّاهَا. He will certainly be successful who invests in his soul, who spends on his soul, his own soul. And here soul is talking about that same concept that I'm trying to bring to you, the concept of the person as a person pulled by influences and tendencies. And the one who fails to do that, God says, قَدْ خَابَ مَنْ دَسَّاهَا, is certainly to fail. The one who neglects to invest in his own soul is certain to fail. For sure he will be a failure.
Yeah, it's true to nothing but the truth. Yeah. Oh. Run, run, run. Revolution a come. Run, run, run. Revolution a come. Some of them want socialism. Some of them want capitalism. Some of them want communism. They all want all kind of ism. Run, run, run. Revolution a come. Run, run, run. Revolution a come. The press must free, so we all can see your wrongdoings and your brutality. Run, run, run. Revolution will come. Justice, human rights stands for all. If we fight Babylon, kingdom will fall. Run, 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 revolution will come. Run, 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 revolution will come. It's a come, yeah. It's coming on the way, it's coming every day, it's getting nearer and nearer. We got
has been driven, so drive them away. As wax melt before the fire, so shall they melt away. And if a wicked pay, and if a righteousness, yes, a righteous pay, melt away, melt away, melt away, like ice cream. He who sits in his heaven shall laugh, for Jah shall have them in his region. Batter them to pieces. Batter them to pieces. As smoke has been driven, so drive them away. As rocks melt before the fire, so shall they melt away. And if a wicked pay, and if a righteousness, yes, a righteous pay, melt away, melt away, melt away, like ice cream, scream, 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 like ice cream, scream, 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 scream. Sits in his heaven shall laugh, for Jah shall have them in his region. Batter them to pieces. Batter them to pieces. As smoke has been driven, so drive them away. As wax melt before the fire, so shall they melt away. And if a wicked pay, and if a righteousness, yes, a righteous pay, melt away, melt away, melt. doesn't shine for me. Because I'm living yet I can't be free. But freedom is a must, I know. No matter how the fuss and go on, because I read these things in prophecy. It says when the rain start pouring down and they ain't got no water, they're gonna bow down to the ground, wishing that they were under. And when the stars start falling down and the fire is burning, there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth, everyone will be mourning. Looks like the moon, it doesn't shine for me at night. Why you've got to be so much evildoers in my sight. But no matter how the fuss I go, freedom is a must, I know. Because I read these things in prophecy. Oh, yeah. I said I read these things. Looks like the sun, it doesn't shine for me. Because I'm living yet I can't be free. But freedom is a must, I know. No matter how the fuss and so on, because I read this things in prophecy. It says when the rain stop pouring down and the don't get the water.
What the world needs today. strengthen you and protect you. That should be your decision. But you who find it very difficult, the believers, as long as you see a believer sincerely trying to live a Muslim life, don't cast them out because they are still doing some sinful things. Don't cast them out. But when you know that they have given up and their intentions are no good anymore, that they're deceivers and not truly struggling Muslims, then separate yourself from them. And even the brother with sin, we have to be toward him, as Allah teaches us in the Quran, and as Prophet Muhammad has taught us, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Prophet Muhammad says, help your brother, whether he's in the wrong or the right, when he was asked. And they said, the believers, his followers said, "O Prophet, O Messenger of God, how is it that you help the one when he's in the wrong?" And he said, help him by keeping him from the wrong. Help him by holding him back from the wrong. So that in itself is an indication, is a clear indication, is a proof that Prophet Muhammad didn't expect every Muslim not to commit sin. But he expected that if Muslims commit sin, there will be brothers around and sisters around that will be alert and will be helpful enough to call their brother and sister's attention to their foot slipping in the path of sin. Say, oh brother, oh sister, that's not Islamic, that's not Muslim-like. Please don't bring the displeasure of God upon you in this community if we allow such to grow. So we can pull them back from sin. And that's what God wants. And again, Prophet Muhammad says, the Muslim is what? Mir'ad akhi, is the mirror for his brother. The mirror for his brother. Now, you know, we like to have the glass mirror. I think the American people, especially the ones who live in the heart of the cities, big cities, I think they have the greatest mirror addiction in the world. Sometimes I'm talking to certain fellows, and if they can find a mirror, they don't look at me, they look in the mirror while they talk to me. Now that's the bad mirror. You don't want that mirror. That's the mirror of vanity. The mirror of self-deceit that spoils your character and robs you of your mental strength as well as your moral strength. You don't want that. What we want is the mirror of the brother, the Muslim brother that Prophet Muhammad spoke of. The Muslim brother that reflects in himself what Allah wants in the Muslim person and has the courage to tell us when we are not reflecting the best. That's right. We have to have moral courage if we are going to be a strong people. If you look at the trends now and the political trends, not to mention the economic trends, we don't have any economic trends except as consumers. But you look at the political trends now, and what is indicated in the political trends that we see in the African American people? What it indicates? It indicates the absence, a total absence of moral courage. Total absence of moral courage. Total lack of moral courage. Sometimes I wonder why the whites like to call us black and them white. And then it came to me, well, they're speaking to a reality that we would like to ignore or shut our eyes to. And that reality is that we lack the means, supports, etc., to establish our race in America. We are people lacking. You know, B-L-A-C-K is be lack. We say black, but it's be lack. Be lacking. And we are be lacking in so many ways. Now that's not our language, that's English. And I wonder how come they like to call us black, you know? I've been talking to him, and I said, why you call me black? And I show him something that's darker than me. I said, what color is that? They say dark brown. I said, how come I'm black and that's dark brown and I'm lighter than that? Yeah, I know what they mean, you know, but I like to bother them a little bit like they bother us. Why is it so important that you call me black? Why is that so important to you, that you call me black? And they won't say, because most of them don't know themselves. It's a psychology that takes all of us. But the masterminds, the devils, they know. They feed the atmosphere with these charged words, and they know the effect on the dummies. Whites and blacks alike. So they like to call themselves whites, like the Hittites, and like to call us black, like Uncle Remus. Lacking. Got a big heart, but lacking. Dear beloved Muslims, we have to give up the thinking of the world. Give up the thinking of this world. The Muslim, he should get his principles, he should get his ideology from the Quran and from the Sunnah of the Prophet. If the Muslim accepts American democracy, it should be because he finds American democracy not to be in conflict with his idea of democracy. So much so that it would require him a rejection, that he rejected American democracy. If he finds that he can live with American democracy, that it is in some real way compatible with Islamic democracy, then he should accept American democracy. But the Muslim should never accept American democracy as an American. The Muslim should accept American democracy as a Muslim.
Yes. See, so we don't draw punches. We know what we're dealing with. So we have to leave.
That a genocide was committed against my people, indiscriminate killing against my people. You know, we, the Jewish people, we recognize evil when we see it.
What happens when an Israeli government spokesperson with smooth talk faces a journalist who refuses to accept lies? You get an interview that feels like a public trial. Welcome to this video. What to expect: a relentless interrogation, sharp questions, evasive answers, and the slow public breakdown of the Israeli propaganda machine. The journalist is sharp, unforgiving, armed with facts, and has zero tolerance for hypocrisy. He's every government spokesperson's worst nightmare. David Mencer, spokesperson for the Israeli government, a master at repeating talking points by heart. He falls apart the moment he's asked for proof. His answers: numbers with no source, claims with no evidence, and a tone that swings between playing the victim and acting morally superior. This interview shows how language is used to justify war, because truth gets drowned in numbers, in framing, in spin, and because some people refuse to stay silent, like this journalist. You'll see Mencer lose credibility, sentence by sentence, and you'll hear how the most humane military clashes with images, data, and international law. So watch, respond, share, leave a comment. What's your take on this? Like the video if you value truth over propaganda, and subscribe if you're done with the sugar-coated version of reality. This isn't an interview. This is an autopsy on credibility. Let's begin.
What has Israel achieved through the war?
Well, first things first, Yama, it's important to understand that this was not a war we wanted. This war shocked us. Almost everyone here knows someone that was killed on October the 7th. It shook our very sense of security. Our war aims are the same as on day one. They are, of course, to defeat Hamas, to make sure that they cannot exist anymore politically, militarily, to bring back our hostages, and also to ensure that Gaza can never be a threat not only to Israel but to the civilized world as well. So those are our war aims.
Mm-hmm. You said, as you said, your government set 3 goals: destroy Hamas, return the hostages, and give the Israelis their sense of security back. But you've failed to deliver on all these promises. Why is that, do you think?
So I would challenge that wholeheartedly. Militarily, the particulars are quite interesting. We think there are 24 battalions of Hamas. We think we've destroyed at least 18 or 19 of those military battalions. There are still 4 in Rafah.
You claim that you've destroyed 18 Hamas battalions. What is the proof of that?
So the proof is from the battlefield itself. We know the number of Hamas and Islamic Jihad terrorists that we've killed. We know we've killed at least 13,000 terrorists, armed terrorists. I remind you again.
How do you know that you've killed 13,000 terrorists?
Because they were firing at us.
So did you do a head count?
Yes.
So this is a verifiable fact, according to you.
I don't say that we have their lists, I don't say we have their names, but we have killed 13,000 combatants.
Yes, but it's just a number, Mr. Mansour. It's just a number. We have never seen any concrete proof that backs up this number.
So I'm a spokesman for this government. I'm a spokesman for this government and the Israeli people. And I'll tell you right now that we have killed 13,000 terrorists. We have executed the gold standard when it comes to firing and directing our war at the terrorists and getting civilians out of harm's way. We have no problem with the people of Gaza. We want them to have a better future, but we need to get rid of this genocidal, murderous organizations, and that is what we are doing.
Mm-hmm. You say you've set the gold standard. Your critics would say Israel is waging a genocidal war, according to UN experts. Israel finds itself in the docks in the International Criminal Court of Justice, which says there is plausible reason to believe genocide is being committed in Gaza. The EU says Israel is using starvation as a weapon against 2.2 million Gazans. Doesn't really sound like a gold standard.
So let me take those apart, because there's a lot in that question which you just asked. On genocide, I would point you to the fact that a genocide was committed against my people, indiscriminate killing against my people. You know, we, the Jewish people, we recognize evil when we see it. We've been very, very clear that it's a terrible war, it's a dangerous war. We've lost 606 of our soldiers in this war, but this country is united on its war aims, and we will be successful because, you know, we don't have anywhere else to go in this country. You know, there is only one Jewish state in the entire world.
Explain to us why you're bent on moving into Rafah with your forces.
So the first things first on this question of Rafah, we move civilian out of harm's way. That's very, very important to us. In all of the battles which we fought, and they have been, it's an extremely complex military environment, extremely complex, because it is an urban, it's not a regular battlefield, it is an urban environment where Hamas fire at us from hospitals, from schools, from mosques.
There are 1.4 million people in Rafah.
We believe there are about 1 million, and I think our figures are probably
but that's a
more
lot
trustworthy.
still.
It is.
A lot of people, a military offensive.
We encourage them to go there, to get out of harm's way.
Exactly, that's why they're there. But a military offensive into Rafah will end in a slaughter, the UN warns. Tell us, how are you going to evacuate all these people?
In the same way that we've done in the past.
That didn't work very well. You told people to move to what was a safe zone, then your forces would end up bombing that area. Are you going to follow the same formula?
So again, I think that's a misrepresentation of this war. We're after Hamas. We've got no problem with ordinary Gazans. I won't be sharing with you our battle plans. They're being discussed right now.
I'm not asking about the battle plan, Mr. Mansour.
So
I'm
you
asking,
just have to
how
look.
are you going to evacuate 1.4 million people out of Rafah?
We will do the same as we've done in other parts of this harsh military war. We move people out of harm's way. We've already acquired, there's been multiple reports of shelters which have been acquired, safe zones where people can move to.
We've also seen people with white flags in plain sight being shot by your forces. We've also seen people in so-called safe zones being bombed. So we've seen your forces kill people on the run from your bombs as well over the past 6 months.
So again, I would say to you that we feel we are the most humane army which has ever existed in living memory. We've done more to
Then why
protect
do your
civilian
soldiers-
lives.
why
Where
do
there
your
have been,
soldiers
Yama, this is
shoot at
important.
people with
Let
white
me
flags?
share
You
with
even
you.
shot your own hostages
Right.
that came
So
out
where
running
there have
alive,
been-
waved flags, and your soldiers
An extremely terrible occurrence that was.
So how are people in
where
Gaza
we have
supposed to
made
feel safe?
mistakes?
How are they
Where
supposed
we
to
have made mistakes, we investigate, we wait for those results, and we adjust our behavior accordingly. That's what democracies do.
Does Israel abide by international law?
Yes.
A UN Security Council resolution passed more than 4 weeks ago demanded a ceasefire. It demanded a stop to the war. Such a resolution is legally binding for all UN members, yet your forces continue to bomb Gaza. Isn't that a clear breach of international law?
So the Americans made clear that it wasn't legally binding, and with all the legal cases you can get a number of opinions, but they made sure that it wasn't legally binding.
Why doesn't Israel respect the UN Security Council resolution ordering you to cease fire? You know that the only way Israel managed to release around 100 hostages was through negotiations, which paved the way for a ceasefire back in December. Yet you're continuing the war. Why?
We're not dealing with Norway here. We're not dealing with Scandinavia. We're dealing with a genocidal, murderous organization. We would love to be able to settle all of our differences around the negotiating table, but again and again and again, Hamas keep walking away. And, you know, this war could end this afternoon, before the sun goes down behind me. This war could end right now if Hamas did two things: laid down their arms and released our hostages.
More than 34,000 people have been killed in Gaza, according to the Palestinian Health Ministry. Your government rejects these figures. Why?
Would you take the figures of Al-Qaeda at face value?
But the UN and WHO says the figures from the Gaza Health Ministry, Hamas's health ministry, are reliable, that they even passed international scrutiny in previous wars. In fact, if you look up the numbers, in the wars in 2014 and 2021, Israel's and Hamas's casualty numbers were almost identical. Why would suddenly they lie in this current crisis and war?
The health ministry does not differentiate between a civilian combatant, which is a tragedy, we say that very, very clearly, and a terrorist. We do. We do.
The UN says these numbers coming from the Hamas Health Ministry are reliable. There's no reason to doubt them, because several times this health ministry during this war has published long lists of names where you have the ID number, their names. Detailed lists have been published documenting who has been killed inside the Gaza Strip during this war. You claim you've killed 13,000 Hamas fighters, yet you haven't produced any lists whatsoever. No documentation. It's a number you're giving the world.
It's a number which our army has given to us in a democratic country with checks and balances, with media scrutiny, with all the Western values that Norway holds dear or should hold
Well,
dear.
Mr. Mansour, I ask you again, where is the concrete proof that you've killed 13,000 fighters? Okay, you claim it, but where is the proof? At least Hamas's health ministry has published lists confirming who has died several times.
I wouldn't take Hamas's word for anything, literally anything.
So we shouldn't believe Hamas, we shouldn't believe the UN, the World Health Organizations, all the aid groups on the ground, rights groups from all over the world. We shouldn't believe them, we should believe the Israeli government.
You'll excuse me if I feel extremely skeptical about almost anything which comes out of the United Nations. We are a proud member of the United Nations. Our officials express our beliefs in the United Nations, and we defend ourselves as is the right thing to do. But, you know, all of us here in Israel feel extreme skepticism at the double standards which the UN constantly throws at us. We simply don't take their word for it. They're simply quoting Hamas. Hamas is a genocidal organization, and we simply can't, you wouldn't take ISIS' word for it, so why on earth would you take Hamas's word for it?
Let's move on to the attacks you've carried out against Gaza's hospitals. The UN says Gaza's health system has been completely destroyed by your forces. Why have you attacked most of the hospitals in Gaza?
Because there is almost not one hospital or medical institution that has not been used as a base for terror, as for weapons storage, with tunnels underneath. Hamas is a deadly terrorist organization, so they killed 1,200, more than 1,200 of my people on October the 7th, babies and beheadings and rapes and terrible, terrible things. So, I think we
Have
shouldn't
the beheadings, by the way, been proven?
Yes.
I haven't seen that proof. Can you explain it to us? Have the beheadings been proven?
Yes, they have been proven. You can go on, if you speak to the IDF spokesman, I'm not a spokesman for the IDF, but they will show you the evidence if you ask for it for those terrible crimes.
1 week into the war, your army spokesperson Daniel Hagari showed the world a virtual 3D model of an alleged Hamas command and control center which stretched several stories beneath the largest medical facility in Gaza, the Shifa Hospital, which you know very well of. Why haven't you shown any proof of such a command center?
Again, Yama, this really line of questioning really shocks us here in Israel, because we've shown the world media, many journalists have been taken to those tunnels. We've seen those bulletproof doors, we've seen the cells, terror dungeon
Specifically with
network.
Shifa Hospital, what you've shown the world are abandoned tunnels and shafts and weapons your forces claim were found inside the hospital. That does not prove that Hamas had a 3-story underground command and control center under the Shifa, a claim Israel has used to justify the attacks on hospitals all over the Gaza Strip.
I'm quite disappointed at this line of questioning, and it's not just from you, because we face this unreasonable burden of proof of the horrors of Hamas strategies. We've shown you tunnels.
Hamas has never denied they had tunnels under Gaza.
African. Him can keep saying he's African, but he want to be West African. Him have a problem. Him mother just passed, and him don't show no sense. Someone needs to ask him, can you please point out is and how do you justify an Arab? We're not talking about the name. That the name for some people you call them Arab. You have not a clue about history. You're fraud. And you're ignorant. And the Pan-African channel assess the value. Really? No links to the continent. You're not even talking about not even have a passport to visit the continent and make links and get some true history to teach in your school. How foolish is that? How foolish is that? And the eye sounds well learned. In America, people are demonstrating Burkina Faso. Across the world, the Pan-Africans, and there were you all discussing nothing. And that idiot boy come up and cuss people. And then when I finish up having a discussion that knows it reps him up. Because he's not polite. He should be in jail with the same polite guy. And you all know bleeping. That's why evidence is possible. Nobody. Because there's people out there that want to hear these type of behavior. And that's not what you should be taking. Remember, you have a school. What is the concept of the curriculum and the moral ethics and principles of the school? Are the people that go to the school, are they adults? Are they children? Question. So we are guidance, things and times.
You see that you cried. You hurt nobody but yourself. The things you do are surely gonna hurt you too. The things you sow, for sure you're gonna reap. Let me tell you, give it up, give it up, give it up. You hurting me now. Give it up.
Gosh, man, I never do this a long time. I see Somalia in her face, in Zimbabwe in her wrist. I see Congo in her thighs and Ghana in her hips. I see Senegal in her hair and Nigeria in her lips. I see Uganda in her grace and Liberia in her smile. Yo, you know anything about these things here? I see Africa in her heart. You know anything about these things here? You have anything like that in your school? Eh? You have anything like that in your school? Star, I will talk to you. Eh? Anything like that in your school? Artificial dreadlocks?
You're my love, you're my angel.
I don't bother with that. Guidance, we're gone.
Ooh, yeah. Ooh, oh, right now. Oh, yeah. The world is troubled, and living ain't easy. The world is troubled. You got to believe it. The world is troubled, and living ain't easy. I said the world is troubled. You got to believe it.
Yeah, Buddha, you there yard? Because so much bad things are going on down there. So if you're down there, take care of yourself, man, because you might look like one of the people them that the police force and everybody look for. And then you get shot. Buddha, and your brethren them, your friend them, I don't know if them your brethren, your friend them miss you. Because them lost for cause. Them can't have a straight conversation at all. You understand? So this is for you, Buddha, and the family. Hold tight.
Well, yeah, it's alright. No fussing on fight. Your heart and soul you must give to Jah. Your heart and soul you must give to Jah.
Dreadlock Buddha.
Your heart and soul, yes, your heart and soul. It doesn't profit you nothing
Tell them.
to gain this world and to lose your soul. It doesn't profit you nothing to gain this world and to lose your soul. Your heart and soul, yes, your heart and soul. You must give to Jah, give it to Jah, give it to Jah. How good and pleasant it is for I and I to live in love. How good and pleasant it is for I and I to give Jah praise. Your heart and soul.
See, man, I'm supposed to go elementary school. Serious thing, Pan-Africans. Yo, stop make us look so bad on the World Wide Web. See? You understand? If you can't do that, man, come off. Come off. Right? Because you make money. Through indecencies. And I tell you, the ignorant argument make it seem like you deal with pure dunce. Huh? Then the boy come up with all the vulgarity and everything, make things sad star. So what's the difference between you and the people that you condemn? Nothing. You just make points, you get views, you get hits, through publicating ignorance. You're not believing what you said. What you call yourself, you're not believing it. You use it, man. It's a camouflage. You and Oma, y'all went to the same mentoring school. It's not even mentoring. You went to the same place. Whoever program, you know, and they went to the same place. You understand? About elders. Oh, gosh, man. Guidance, we're gone. Too much nonsense. Yo, share the thing. You understand? Because we are promote something.